I don't know if when you were in Algebra 2, you studied matrices. Do you remember that with Miss Brown, maybe?
Doesn't sound familiar.
No? So Gauss had a lot to do with matrices. He had a lot to do with a lot of things. And he wrote he figured out a bunch of math and helped us progress in mathematics, okay? It is said that his IQ is immeasurable. Of course, he lived a long time ago, so they didn't have IQ tests. But if they were to try to use his body of work to figure out his IQ, it's 200 plus. So some people say, it's off the charts, okay? And when he was a little boy, he had a little bit of ADHD, which I assume it was boredom, since he was so smart. His teacher was teaching arithmetic, and he's sitting in the classroom bored, trying to figure out, the meaning of math. So he had trouble with discipline. And I don't know if anybody here can identify with that, but I can. When I was a kid, I had trouble with discipline in the classroom for myself. So one day his teacher had had enough, and she told him to go in a corner and add the numbers between 1 and 100, thinking he would stay busy for a while. And it was 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, all the way to 100. So she figured that would give him something to do for, 20 minutes of quiet. And he goes, "Oh, Miss Medlin, it's 5,050. And she got really mad. "Go in the corner and do it." "What do you mean it's 5,050? And what he did in his head was he looked at the numbers like this. Can you see what I'm doing over here?
Yeah.
And then he put them backwards, like that. And every column added up to 101. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And so he has 100 columns, which is 10,100. But you only need half of them. So you divide that by 2, and you get 50/50. And that is how the formula was discovered. I consider mathematics discovered. I don't know how you feel about that. We can talk about that in a little bit. But I feel like it was discovered and not invented, because I feel like it makes everything work. So when they kept discovering things, they said it has to be this way in order for this to work. So it was more discovered. But there are people who think it was invented and created. I do not believe that. The formula is the sum of a series, which is S of n, whenever you see S, equals the number of numbers in that series divided by 2. And you take the first number and you add it to the last number. Let me put the things here. It's A1 plus AN. And that would be, we have 100 numbers in that series divided by 2. And you take the first term and the last term. And you have 50 times 101, which is 5,050. The formula is S sub n equals the number of numbers in the series over 2 times A1 plus AN. And this is for an arithmetic series, which is what we've been talking about. And here, on the first one, it says A1 equals negative 8/5. AN equals negative 28/5. And N equals 9. So this is done for you. I mean, it gives you everything you need to find the sum of this. You would be adding A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 all the way to A9. But instead of doing that, we use the formula, and we have number N over 2 and negative 8/5 plus negative 28/5, because it's A1 plus AN, okay? You just plug and chug on these. The first few is just plug and chug. So you would have 4.5 times negative 36/5, whatever that is. So if you change this to a fraction, you get negative 162/5. right? So here we're given A1, N, and D, and we need AN in order to use the formula that we're doing for SN. But remember last week we did that formula, AN equals A1 plus D times N minus 1. So AN equals 13 plus 3 times 4, which is 13 plus 12, which is 25. Anybody have any questions on that?
Where did you get the 4 from?
And so now we have everything we need to find our sum. Our sum is going to be 5 over 2 times 13 plus 25, which is 2.5 times 38. So that's going to be 95. So the sum of that series, that means since n is 5, if you added a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a4 plus a5, you would get 95. And we can do that over here real quick because this is a short one. If a1 is 13 and d is 3, then you have 16, 19, 22, and one more, 25, right? And if you added those together, you should get 95. I want to find D, because I can find D on here. I take any term and subtract the guy in front of it. So I take 28 ninths and subtract the guy in front of it. 47 divided by 18. And I didn't key that in right. And that's 1/2. Everybody get 1/2 for D? We have A1 is 47/18, as ugly as it is. We have N is 11, so we need AN. AN equals A1 plus D and times 10. So it's 47/18 plus 5. Which is what? Everybody get that?
Yes.
So now we just put it in the formula. We have 11 divided by 2. A1 is 47/18 plus 137/18. And 47 plus 47/18. Times 5.5, math enter, is 506 ninths. And the sum would be S of n equals 506 over 9. So for this you need A1, you need AN, and you need N. To find A1, plug in bottom number, which is the 2, the number under the sigma. To find AN, what do you think you plug in?
13.
Top number, very good, which is the 13. And to find N, remember the fence post rule I kept telling you about? You need more fence posts? You take the top minus the bottom plus 1. So 13 minus 2 plus 1. So it's going to be 12, okay? So we have A1 is 1/2 plus 1/2 times 2. 1/2 times 2 is 1, plus 1/2 is 1.5, or 3/2. Who does not? AN should be 7, and N is the top number, 13, minus the bottom number, 2, which gives you 11, plus 1, which is 12. Got it?
The only one I got out of all.
So S of n equals 51. Because your A1 is 3/2, your AN is 7, and your N is 12. So when you have 12 over 2 and 7 plus 3/2 is 8.5, multiply them together, you get 51.